morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, the Commander-in-Chief of the South African National Defence Force. A hearty word of welcome to the Freedom Day Parade. The main functionary is the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa.
Is that inside or outside? Mama, how are you?
During the playing of the national anthem, all neutral spectators are required to salute on the Polish national salute. And individual spectators are requested to remove their headdress. The ceremonial gathering will be held in the musical display. On completion of the musical display, the final performance will be
Official business of the day is now commencing. We're joined in studio just to take us through what we are seeing and the significance thereof by the SANDF Senior Staff Office responsible for ceremonial activities. That's Colonel Hope Mkhize. Very good morning to you, Colonel. We're seeing all these SANDF members here just getting ready for that ceremonial event. Just talk us through what we're expected to see take place now.
Good mornings. Today we are gathered for the Freedom Day celebration. In front of us we've got a National Ceremonial Guard that is from Pretoria. This guard is an elite ceremonial grouping for the SANDF. They are responsible for the parades of the President and the higher echelon of the Defence Force. The uniform that they wear, you might realize that in some other instances or other parades, we've got people with different uniforms, but these ones, they are specifically meant for a green one so that they become different from other ceremonial groupings. Now, as we speak, they are waiting for the President to be ushered on the podium by two aide-de-camps together with the Chief of the South African National Defence Force. Upon the arrival of the President, he will be required to stand and he will be received by a national salute, 21-gun salute, simultaneously integrated with a flight salute, which is composed of 3 helicopters, that is 2 Augustas and 1 Oryx. They will be carrying 2 national flags plus 1 SANDF flag.
Now, we're also seeing the troops in red. I take it this is the band. What becomes their role just after the flight salute?
Definitely sure. The band, remember that the national salute is played by the band. Then after the flight salute, because ordinarily we are having a mass pass or a flight display. So in this instance today we don't have it. So we are going to request the band to troop or display with music just after the national salute, so that after they have done, then the President will be accorded the last saluting compliments and withdraw from the podium to join the grouping at the tent to address the nation on the Freedom Day.
So the fact that we saw them quickly assemble just now, would that essentially then be indicative that any moment now we are expecting the President, or it could even happen that perhaps they could be in this position for a good 15 to 20 minutes? Or does it already indicate that the President is within the vicinity and any moment he's due then to be ushered to the podium?
As we can see that the Army generals or SANDF generals, they are also already in position. The President has already arrived. The President is busy being briefed at the briefing area. So anytime from now, when it's done, then we commence with the parade.
All right, then we do await the start of that parade. Very beautiful visuals that we're seeing here as the members of the SANDF force gather, waiting then to usher the President to the podium. But just to also remind you some of the dignitaries that we have spotted, we also have spotted Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Gated Mackenzie, who a bit earlier on was at the Heatherdale Secondary School. This is where they were handing over 2 sports facilities as part of the Legacy project. So quite a lot happening across the province of the Free State, a very significant location, especially in the history of South Africa, but also a number of official commemorative events taking place in the various provinces. We do have all my colleagues stationed across all those various provinces to bring us the very latest on how those specific provinces are marking Freedom Day, a very significant day in our calendar, of course, and I suppose speaks to the display you're seeing now and the role of the SANDF. Because when we talk of the 21-gun salute, it is most certainly the highest salute. And as some have gotten to interpret what we're seeing, saying that this level of display also speaks or symbolizes a submission to civil authority in the form of the first citizen being President Cyril Ramaphosa. A very significant day in our calendar, as we stated a bit earlier on, because today, 32 years ago, polls were opened for the first fully democratic elections in the country, which essentially signified a decisive turning point in our political history where millions of people gathered, standing in queues. We all remember those images of those snaking queues waiting to cast their ballot. And when they did, that essentially signaled the end of segregationalist governance as we know it. And a bit earlier on, we were speaking about one specific image that is possibly etched in the memories of many South Africans, and that is the image in 1994 of the late former President Nelson Mandela. Now, in that image, many would have seen he was casting his ballot at Ohlange High School in Inanda in KZN, not too far off from the gravesite of the founding president of the African National Congress, that's John Langalibalele Dube. It was indicated at the time that it was no coincidence. It was specific that he had chosen that specific location of Inanda to cast his ballot. The former president at the time was 75 years old, which on its own speaks of how hard-won this democracy was, because it almost didn't happen in his lifetime. 75 years, if we just consider the mortality rate, it almost didn't happen in his lifetime. And why many continue to say that a day such as this one must be not only to celebrate the gains of our democracy, but to also honor those who fought very hard for this democracy that we enjoy today. And that beyond that, in as much as we celebrate, we cannot exclude the lived realities of today, and that warrants that they be a reflection on what freedom means today and exactly what in the democratic project is still outstanding and must be concluded. So frank conversations being had around the country. We even saw throughout the weekend massive programs, abahlali basemjondolo holding their annual commemorative event where they talk about Freedom Day, where for them they feel, as the Shack Dwellers Association, that they are the landless, the downtrodden, those on the periphery of this economy. And for them, they feel that they haven't begun to feel or really reap the benefits of democracy. And that is such the kind of expression, or at least the kind of country that we exist in, where there is that space for that honest reflection of how far we've come, what are the gains, and where are we still lagging behind. And we've often heard President Cyril Ramaphosa indicating that in moments like these, not only do you reflect, but also recommit yourselves, even as citizens, to collectively work towards that promise of 1994, that because there are those who are still not enjoying the fruits or benefits of democracy, there needs to be a recommitment of officials, government officials, of civil society, of activists, to ensure that they reach the promised land and that freedom is obtained and for many to begin to enjoy the fruits of that freedom. So a very significant day in the country as we continue to await now the president's arrival, at least on that podium, as you can see the visuals before you of the SANDF members who are currently awaiting to begin that ceremonial event. We stated a bit earlier on, Colonel, that when we see, at least when it comes to the role of the band, it's also equally significant. We also spoke, you and I, about the 21-gun salute, that it will be taking place just behind the stadium, of course, for safety and other reasons. Just talk to us about the number, 21-gun salute. We know that with the opening of Parliament, this is significant. And then why exactly 21-gun salute? Has it always been 21 in this respect?
21-gun salute is the highest honor to the head of states. We've got different numbers of the guns. For instance, the president is the highest, is 21. Deputy president is 19. As you go down, they're reduced. But if it's 21 is the highest, it has been historically honored to the kings, monarchs. Then it has been adopted throughout years in the whole world that only the presidents will receive their highest, guns being 21.
All right, thank you very much for that. Well, we continue to wait for the president's ushering onto the podium. Just to remind you of some of the guests that we've spoken to thus far. Just a short while ago, we were speaking to Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mamoloko Kubai. A very important conversation being had there around the access to our courts, so access to justice at a time such as this one, because the theme itself today is that of freedom and the rule of law, and her portfolio being precisely at the center of the rule of law. Going on to indicate or speak to her about what people continue to see, which has left many heartened, and it's that a number of high-profile individuals, if you will, being brought before the courts of late, accused of wrongdoing, which many have said assists in some level of restoration of the supremacy of our law and our constitution, in that they're seeing that we're beginning to live a certain section of the Constitution, that's Section 9 of the Constitution, that speaks of all being equal before the law, that you're beginning to see those who would ordinarily by some be considered to be high profile no longer being protected, but also being put through their paces in court, as we've continued to report on such. So very significant conversation, and perhaps well-timed theme, that it is freedom and the rule of law, because again, where there is the rule of law, a nation's legitimacy lies. It's important that citizens have full trust in the criminal justice system, as we're beginning to see now what has been happening at the Mangaung Commission of Inquiry, leading to some sort of prosecutions where our courts have equally been busy as the revelations come out at the Mangaung Commission of Inquiry. Going on to state to our audience a bit earlier on, Mamoloko Kubai, that when it comes to access to our courts, yes, a lot still needs to be done, but most of the work already, or the foundation being laid by the erstwhile leader of that portfolio being Ronald Lamola, that when it comes to the number of courts that are needed, properly demarcated, appreciating that many people, especially those that are considered to be historically disadvantaged, could be far from those courts. But there has been a concerted effort to ensure that there are enough courts for people to access. The other issue being that of the high legal fees, especially when it comes to civil matters, that many people find themselves experiencing that barrier to justice because of the high legal fees. Another issue that they say they continue to tackle. Unfortunately, we didn't get to touch on the very significant one having taken place this April, and that is Minister Mamoloko Kubai unveiling the Protected Disclosures Bill, which also seeks to assist with the access of justice when it comes to whistleblowers. A very important day. We see those visuals there. It seems the President, just to bring your attention to those visuals, we see that the President any moment now due to come out of those doors as the SANDF members await to usher him in. All right, it seems he is, if my eyes are not failing me, it seems the President is walking in. Let's take a bit of that natural sound. All right, those are live visuals. As you can see, President Cyril Ramaphosa being ushered to the podium, as indicated by Colonel Mkhize. Colonel Mkhize, perhaps talk us through this moment. I know a number of people there ululating as the President is arriving. Just talk us through what we're seeing now and what is happening or due to happen.
Now, the President has just been ushered to the podium. He's about to get the national anthem with the guns, as you can hear now. The Student Council has started. It will take approximately 1 minute 40 seconds. Then after that, then the flight will come by. Now the President, after here, then he'll sit down, be required to sit down with his Commander-in-Chief, or chief of the Southern National Defence Force. Then the band will display. Then after that, you'll get the second round of the salute.
Can we please be quiet? Please. And we all stand for the singing of the national anthem. Can we be quiet, please?
All right, there we have it. It may have not been visible to you, but Colonel Hope Mkhize, even though we are together here, you saw it important that you also salute the president. Consummate professional, just talk us through that every single member of the SANDF, wherever positioned, will have to salute the president as you did.
Definitely, even if you are behind the scenes, you are not seen, but wherever you are, once you hear the national anthem, you are compelled to salute. So the National Defence Force is supposed to be saluting the president in respect of the national anthem ordered by the parade commander.
No, it's honestly most wonderful to see. So now that the president is seated, talk us through what we're seeing there. There's a commander next to him. What will happen next?
Now they are going to request the band to display music while the president is relaxing, watching the display. After the display, then it will be now the end of the parade, because actually this is a receiving parade for the president. After receiving, then as I said earlier on, he'll be required now to come and join the masses.
So we heard a gun salute. Now that was the start, or it didn't sound as though it was the 21, but that was the start of it.
Definitely it was 21. Yeah, as I said, that it plays for 1 minute 40 seconds. Then the second round of the Dunan gun salute will come after the last compliments to the chief, the commander-in-chief.
Okay, so here we can see now the band, or what you call the troop display in front of the president. So they're going to go right across and then return, or they go, get to the middle, and then salute the president and return to their position. What happens here?
No, they don't salute the president. They are going to play two items. They pass the guard. At the end of the guard, they turn around. Then also pass the president with two items, approximately for 8 minutes.
All right, most certainly a very beautiful display. Never gets old to see such a display there. Now then we get to the integrated simultaneous flight salute, the 3 helicopters. As soon as they're done, from where we are, we cannot really see, but I think maybe we can move a bit closer to see if we're seeing the helicopters now. Are we going to expect it any moment now, because it's supposed to be simultaneous?
Yes, ma'am. Flight salute was actually supposed to be simultaneous with the national anthem and the guns. So I assume that due to the weather condition, the flights might not have been authorized to come through. But once that is done, then it will be reintegrated.
All right, let's listen to the natural sounds for a bit. What a beautiful display and beautiful medleys that we're hearing now from the band as they do what they call their troop display in front of the president. As we heard, it will be 2 items and they return to their positions. And then after that, the president will receive the last salute. We are coming to you live from the Free State province at the Dr. Rantlai Petrus Mulemela Stadium. Of course, for the official Freedom Day commemorative event, President Cyril Ramaphosa, as you can see, they're also enjoying the troop display in front of him, expected to deliver the keynote address in a short while, expected around 11:30. Live visuals from here at the Dr. Rantlaye Petrus Mulamela Stadium in the Free State. This is where South Africa is hosting the official Freedom Day commemorative event. You can see there President Cyril Ramaphosa also enjoying the music from the band, their troop display in front of the president. Some of those melodies, if my music knowledge serves me right, sounds like a rendition from one young artist, Mahu. It sounds as though the song is Bendikela. I suppose speaking of the new dawn that we're all in, where even the new genres such as Amapiano will find themselves being part of the band or music that we're hearing at an event such as this one, as official as it is, because these are genres that are recognized in a country and continue to foster a level of social cohesion, because the arts have played a significant role in ensuring that there is social cohesion in the country, even in conscientizing young people. Let's just bring back in Colonel Mkhize to talk us through what we're hearing now. We can hear, Colonel, that there is a speaker and they're addressing, I don't know if they're addressing the band or the president now, but he is now standing at attention as well, and we're seeing the members. Just talk us through what we're seeing now.
Now the president is about to leave the podium and come to the tent. Now they're giving the president the last compliments, national anthem, to withdraw, be taken by his aide camps to where it's designated to come and address the nation.
All right, let's listen to the national anthem. All right, now there you have it, the last salute to the president, awaiting his aides now to guide him to the marquee where we are stationed. Colonel, perhaps just for the benefit of those who might not be aware, talk us through the importance of the SANDF official that is next to the president. Why must he be next to the president as we're seeing there on the podium?
Henceforth, that this is a receiving parade for the president. The member in question is the South African National Defence Force chief. So every time when the president is on podium received by the soldiers, then he will be accompanied by his National Defence Force chief. That's why you also see that the National Defence chief is also accompanied by his service chiefs that were seated next to the podium.
All right, quite informative indeed. As we see them now, it seems as though also making their way to the marquee. Just talk us through some of those officials that we're seeing in white, in blue.
So those are the key lead elements within the Defence Force. We've got 4 services. We've got the Chief of the Southern Army, we've got the Chief of the Air Force, we've got the Chief of the Southern Navy, we've got the Sergeant General, who is chief of the medical department. We've got also other elements or representatives from the chief logistics. We've got a representative from the chief operations and the defense intelligence. So those are the elements of people that were seated next to the chief.
In as much as we haven't gotten confirmation around the fly past that we expected a bit earlier on, which is supposed to be integrated into the 21 gun salute, that was the flight salute. We haven't got confirmation, or do you now know that those 3 helicopters resorted not to fly because perhaps they weren't given clearance?
On that regard, I might not have an answer to that. Henceforth, I'm here with you. But as soon as we get a confirmation, then we'll be told about it.
All right. It seems as though the president is making his way, as we can see there, into the marquee. Another parade that we're witnessing there as he's being ushered into the official marquee, and will soon begin the business of the day, as you can hear there. All right, Colonel Mkhize, I think this is where we end off. Thank you very much for taking us through everything that we've seen today and for educating many of those watching at home around the significance of all of this that we've seen, the ceremony itself. Thank you very much for joining us.
All right, thank you.
The rule of law. 30 years of democratic citizenship. Sing the national anthem. We must make sure that we respect it. We respect it by remaining standing. We respect it by not talking to one another. We respect it by not moving around. Our national anthem is the most important thing in this democracy. Thank you very much. Before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge the following people. His Excellency President Ramaphosa, Makosi Aruna, Murena Ebogolo, Bimufumahadi, Murena Mutibang Mupedi, the House of traditional leaders, the chairperson Morena Mopedi, the deputy chairperson Khosi Kgabuilelwe Moroka. I would like to acknowledge the Premier of the Free State, Mayor Lituha Matai. I would like to acknowledge the ministers and the deputy ministers, the ambassadors and high commissioners. I would like to acknowledge the members of the executive councils and also the generals and the director generals, the HODs, senior management of departments, and all of us, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, I'll call on the podium the Premier of the Free State, Mayor Makwin Lituha Matai, to come and give us an opening and welcome for the program.
Dumelang. Rumasele ron. Ela ya. Honorable President, His Excellency Ntate Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, ministers present here today, deputy ministers, members of Executive Council, members of the legislature and members of parliament, director generals, heads of departments, ki se hlompho e kgolo ho marena a rona, ke re Morena Motibang Mopedi Dikgomo boemong ba rona ba Freestata. Bomme le bontate, setjhaba sa Freestata dumelang hape. We are gathered here to celebrate the most important day of our country's history, the Freedom Day. The 27th of April 1994 marked a significant change in our country following many years of relentless struggle in the pursuit of a just and equal society. We, the majority citizens of this country, were finally able to cast our vote and have a say on the future of what would then be known as the Rainbow Nation. After many years of struggle, which sadly claimed many lives of patriotic South Africans, this day ushered a new dawn. The 27th of April 1994 set us on a path to rebuild our country after many years of suppression by the discredited apartheid regime. It was on this day that many of our people long to see. Mr. President, a cruel irony is that it was in April, the month which ushered in our freedom, when we lost two of our beloved liberation icons. In 1993, exactly a year before we headed to the polls, we lost Comrade Chris Hani and Oliver Tambo. These were two of our beloved leaders who sadly died 2 weeks of each other. This is the time when our country was at a tipping point with the prospect of a devastating civil war, a real possibility. The death of both Chris Hani and Oliver Tambo also had a devastating impact on our organization, the African National Congress. It had become patently clear that at the time, with the elections inevitable, the people of South Africa wouldn't trust our leaders to run the country. The death, therefore, of the two leaders struck a massive blow of our country. Fortunately, we had a pool of men and women of honor who were capable and took their baton, and when the time finally arrived, led with distinction. Chris Hani and Oliver Tambo are but two of liberation struggle icons who dedicated and gave their lives to the people of our country. Many more unsung heroes and heroines also fought and gave their lives to the freedom that you are enjoying today. Our freedom was not given to us. We fought for it. Re itwanetse, ha hona motho a re fileng yona, hodima sekotlolo a re ke eo tokoloho ya lona. This year also marks 70th anniversary of the historic Women's March to Pretoria to protest against past law. On that day, nearly 20,000 women led a peaceful march to say carrying dompas to identify themselves in the country of their birth was not only humiliating, but also insulting. We'll also commemorate the 50th anniversary of the June 16 uprisings, which left scores of children dead when the enemy opened live ammunition on them in Soweto. Ours indeed was a freedom defined by bloodshed. Mr. President, honorable members, we are gathered at this iconic venue, which is named after Mangaung's beloved son. Sebaka sena se go leng sona mo president, ki se reletsweng ka e mongwe wa baholo ba rona mona Mangaung, e leng Ntate Rantlai Pietrus Molemele, a ileng a sebedisa dipapadi ho kopanya batho mona Freistata. Tlapa hae e kgolo kapa sehlopha sa hae se seholo, Bloemfontein Celtics, se ile sa tlisa batho mo sa ba kopanya ka mefuta hore ba kopanya, mme ya re ruta hore ka nnete dipapadi di ka tlisa batho mo. May his beautiful soul continue to repose in perfect peace. As we celebrate this day, we take note of the many challenges that continue to confront us: poverty, unemployment, inequality, and gender-based violence and femicide, which, Mr. President, you correctly labeled a national disaster. And it demands of us to work hard to eliminate it from our society. GBVMF has caused a great deal of pain for many families in our province, Mr. President. Your visit to the Free State in December last year and your words of encouragement have renewed our hope, and that this disaster will soon be nothing but a stained and painful memory. President, the people of the province were indeed appreciative that you took the trouble to visit our province and condemn GBV. That was a demonstration that you are a leader who is equally worried by violence against the vulnerable in our society, as our citizens are. Your visit shows that you are a leader who cares about the well-being of our people. Mr. President, you'll be happy to know that esalo o tsamaya Mangaung, re ile ra etsa boitelo kapa ra etsa tlamo pela hao, ra re taba ena ya men's indaba e re not in my name, re tla ntshetsa pele re le mmuso wa Freistata, re ise di-districting tsohle tse 5 tsa Freistata. Ke ema ka motlotlo mona Tate Ramaphosa, ke re ho wena re se re tswa di-districting tse 3 ho tloha ka December ha o no tsamaya mona, re tswa Thabo Mofutsanyana, re tswa Lejwe Leputswa, mme maobane ne re le fezile Dabi Sasolburg mona mo re sebetsang le SABC le Sedi hore molaetsa o fihlele bontate bohle. Ne re na le dialogue eo hape maobane re bua le bontate, re bontate ho lekane ka tlhekefetso ya bomme le bana. Mr. President, the response from the people has so far been positive and encouraging, and that was once again the case at Herigwala Multipurpose Center in Zamdela yesterday. Working together with the national broadcasters, Lesedi, the message reached many households across the country, and the message is that gender-based violence and femicide do not have a place in our society. Despite all these challenges, we are proud to inform you that we have made inroads in improving the lives of our people. A stone's throw away from here, that the President, hona le sebaka se bitswang Hillside View. Me sebaka se ke mo re bonang hantle mo Freedom Shelter e sebetsang teng ha ne re re there shall be houses, security and comfort. Hillside View ha se sebaka sa batho ba batsho, Mr. President, se mona fela motseng ona o sa le dibitsa gore ke dibaka tsa batho ba batsho empa president minister tse teng re kopa ho le tsebisa hore sebaka seo se accommodatile makgowa se accommodatile batho ba rona bene re ba bitsa gore ke makhalate ba dula ha mmoho sebakeng seo hona haufinyana mona ebile ho na le ntate a bitswang ntate John Phiri mo a white South African male and o buile a re when he's talking about the pride of living, he's got the pride of living with his fellow compatriots. He enjoys it. And that is a South Africa that we strive to build, Honorable President. Hape mona Mangaung, re na le sebaka sa bitswang Botshabelo man. Mo mohlankane monga monyane Emmanuel Mutai, a nkile monyetla a ipulela bakery a thusa haholo ke mmuso ona mme o hirile batjha ba bangwe ho bontsha hore ha lebella mmuso fela o re batjha ha re iketsetse. This is what the freedom has brought for our people. Ha re ya Senekal ho na le lehlonano Phakwe a sebetsa le ntate a moso mo ntate Daneman Smith. Ba entse a beautiful working relationship and are working together, which is, as we know, debunks the myth of a white genocide in our country. These are but a few examples of what this government has been able to achieve. We are, however, not going to be lulled into a false sense of comfort, but will instead redouble our efforts to ensure that the quality of our citizens is improved. President Mandela said it best when he said, and I quote, I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb, close quote. There are certainly many more hills to climb and many more rivers to cross, but we know that working together will arrive at the promised land. With those words, ke a leboha mekere le amogetse bohle provinceng ena ya malomo a bitswang dirosa a lerato ke a leboha.
Thank you, Honorable Premier. I just missed in my acknowledgements the executive mayors, executive mayor of Mangaung, Councillor Gregory Ntatisi, mayors that are here, and councillors. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to read the preamble of our Constitution, the Constitution that we are also celebrating as it turns 30 years this year, 2026. I'm going to request that we all stand as I lead you in the reading of the preamble. I'm going to lead and then you will say it after me. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of the past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country. Believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. United in our diversity. We therefore, through our freely elected representatives, adopt this Constitution as the supreme law of the Republic. As to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. lay the foundation for a democratic and open society in which government is based on the will of the people and every citizen is equally protected by law. Improve the quality of life for all citizens and free the potential of each person and build a united and democratic South Africa, able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of. May God protect our people. Nkosi sikelela iAfrika. Murena buluka setjhaba sa heso. God sien South Africa. God bless South Africa. Mudzimu fudutsetsa Afrika. Hosi katekisa Afrika. Ke a leboha. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to have a cultural item by Jamali. Let us enjoy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, how you doing? How you all doing? Okay, we gotta start that again. We're so happy to be here. Girl that you see in the magazine. Are you gonna sing along with us? Okay, we're gonna test your skills, okay? Perfect face and perfect body. Never be anyone but the one I am, what I have. I can bend to your expectations, to fulfill any fantasy. If what I am is what you need, love me for me, and not for someone that I never be. 'Cause what you get is what you see, and I can be any more than what I am. Love me for me, and not for someone you wish that I could be. 'Cause what you get is what you see, and I can be any more than what I am. Love me for me, don't love me, or don't love me. Don't think you're gonna change what's inside of me. Make me who you want me to be. Don't love me. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Araba shapele matsoho. Dumelang Mangaung, dumelang. Happy Freedom Day, happy. Happy Freedom Day, happy. Lithabile. Are you ready for Sunday? Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Let me write on the protocol that has been established. Uri program yar na tsamaye ka bonako. Sana re ka spend the rest of the afternoon akere. So ari thuleng re mameleng ka pele. Re na le program a very short. Mosebetsi wa ka ke hore ke tle ke introduce Minister wa rona Ntate Mackenzie, Minister wa Sports, Arts and Culture, o ile moagi wa Mangaung as well. Ho tla ho emelisa mo president wa rona Ntate Cyril Ramaphosa. Hey Ramaphosa, hey Dumela Ramaphosa, dumela. Hey Ramaphosa, hey Hello, President, hello! So, letsatsi lena la Freedom Day, re tlo kopa Ntate Mackenzie to come to the podium. I had a few remarks, and then ha a fetsa, a amogele le go bitsa mo president wa rona wa naga Ntate Cyril Ramaphosa go tla go share le rona molaetsa o botlhokwa wa rona wa Freedom Day. Ramaphosa dumela. Ramaphosa dumela. Ramaphosa dumela. Dumela. Iyo dumela. Presidente dumela. Presidente dumela. Presidente dumela, dumela. Ramaphosa dumela, Ramaphosa Dumela, Ramaphosa, Dumela, Dumela. Happy Freedom Day, happy!
Halala batho ba Bloemfontein, halala. Halala batho ba Botshabelo, halala. Batho ba Botshabelo ba teng mona, halala batho ba Botshabelo. Halala batho ba Bloemfontein, halala. Hater Freedom Day, hater. Hater Freedom Day, hater. Thank you very much. Ke batla ke dumedise mopresidente wa rona e re mo ratang kaofela ntate Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. Dumela ntate Ramaphosa, dumela. Ha tsamai a le one fela o tsamaya le di-ministera tsa hae bo Mackenzie ba teng mona. Ke batla ke qale ke dumedise dikgosi tsa rona. Last time ke jile phoso ke re dikgosi di eme batho ba ba bone. Physically monna, minister, you can't make the chief stand up. You are not a chief. So one day when I'm a chief, ke batla dumedisa dikgosi tsa rona. We have a special guest. I'm coming to the special guest. I want to greet Mewa Mona, very dynamic woman, McQueen. McQueen, bao hantle ma mona ba bona outfit yao ye. Bao bona hantle. Ke me aruna wa mo province. Ha ke fitla Bloemfontein ke tshakela familia ke phone mayor mona mayor ya rona ntate Gregory a e batho ba bone ka tai ya e rete. God and you, the minister, they are very fashionable. Very fashionable. Can the GNU ministers just stand up and deputy ministers, Patubali Bone, people want to see you. Can all the ministers stand up? We also want to see which ministers are not here for my register. Hala ministers, hala. Hala DMs, hala. I also want the engine. I want to greet the engine. Ke motho a nrutile dintho tse ngata ha ne ke le minister la tseba ke a qala nna. I want to greet the DG. DG, please rise up. Batho ba bone ke wena engine ya rona. Hala DG, hala. Ke DG ya president. Le nna ke na le DG ya ka. DG, I also want to show the president I also have a DG. I am a DG. Hala, DG, hala. We want to thank the generals that are here. We want to thank the admirals that are here. Most importantly, we appreciate all the ambassadors and high commissioners that found it worthy to come and celebrate Freedom Day, Lirona. Can all the ambassadors, high commissioners, please rise so our people can give you a good South African welcome. Hala, ambassadors, hala. Thank you. These ambassadors are a testament that there's no genocide and all these things you are reading. We are a peaceful country. Freedom was signed. Mandela was released. The person that signed for his release was F.W. de Klerk, President F.W. de Klerk. Today, His wife can live anywhere in the world. Anywhere. But she said, I am staying in South Africa. I'm not going anywhere. How na mo kyang teng? Can you please stand up, Mrs. de Klerk? Hala, hala, Mrs. de Klerk, hala, hala. Thank you for being with us today, Mrs. de Klerk. Let me use my last 3 minutes to share something very important with you. Zimbabweans, Cyril John Rhodes has stolen as the Zimbabwean soapstone bird. It was something very sacred. It's the most sacred artifact coming out of Zimbabwe. Cyril John Rhodes took that soapstone bird, he took it to his room where he's sleeping. He looked at that thing before he sleeps and when he wakes up, because the Zimbabwean soapstone bird moves between life and death according to ancient history. He believed to defeat the Zimbabweans, he must take the soapstone bird. For 30 years and more, Zimbabweans has been trying to get back the soapstone bird. South Africa refused to give it back. That's a fact. Because how do we explain the fact that this bird is so important to Zimbabwe? My president and your president called me. He said, Minister, you made a statement that South African artifacts has been stolen, but you are sitting with stolen property. We cannot call ourselves ethical if we are sitting with stolen property. I will do everything in my power. I want you to return the bird before this date. He gave me a history of the bird. Your Excellency, the bird has been returned. But the president of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Mnangagwa, called me in a private meeting. And he gave me a personal letter of appreciation to hand over to you. He was very emotional. He said it is his biggest political victory. It is his biggest gift for his people. He said, I must thank you. He said, I must not read the letter. I was very tempted to read this letter because he was so emotional when he gave the letter. So, President, I came today firstly to hand you the letter for your bravery and for doing what no other president has done in 30 years. Lastly, you know, I was outside government. When you are outside, it's easy to criticize. When I read one day, Mr. Kubai, I read President Ramaphosa is starting an electricity minister. Minister of Electricity, kiri. Bat kadile no. Bat kadile kadi nonsense sabone. Uboni kai batu banali Minister of Electricity. Jiggy. Spootler has stopped load shedding because he was appointed by the president. Karitula, two. We no longer speak bad. Yabubedi. Madanga Commission. When the president said Madanga, we said, Utkadile Hape Kadi Commission is a high. That's a failing. Today, we are all watching Mangaung Commission for different reasons. Others are watching because they want justice to prevail. Others are watching Huta Mabito Abona High Kumiko Commissioning. Markau fella, we are watching. I was president, I was making a sandwich and the TV was on. I hear McKinsey. Hey! I ran there, but they were talking about McKinsey's. Kiri, whoo! Mudimo muhulu. So, but to ba Freestad, King Wana Freestad, King Wana wa singangata perecho Mangaung. I want to say to you, we are being led. Tola dinto tse ngata tseo di utlwang batho ba di buang. Ha ke re ke paki nna. We are being led. Our president under his leadership, for the first time, we have 10.8 million tourists coming to South Africa. I clap at Wela Bujelasi, Liwena one day, Holy President Ritau Tlapela Mato. The rand has stabilized. We are now creating jobs. So I'm going to repeat what I always said. Freedom was tested in 2024. To the ambassadors, I want you to know, the biggest test for our freedom happened in 2024 when the African National Congress moved under 50%. The president never disputed the election result. Never disputed the election result. If it was in Africa, some countries in Africa, and I'm saying it, the army would have been on the street, the generals would have been called, it would have been a mini war. But I want to congratulate the president for standing there and said, we've gone under 50%. What does our constitution demand of us in an event where the voters took us under 50%? Nothing must tell you the strength of our freedom than we've withstood the majority party going under 50%. It's not an easy thing. There was no war. The generals was going around with a normal day. Nobody was called in emergency meeting by the president. He accepted the result. And the government of national unity was birthed. So you must never take this freedom for granted. People died for this freedom. And today we are celebrating this freedom. With those words, anybody stands up today in South Africa, you can criticize the president. You will not be arrested. That tells you how strong is this democracy. But we seem to take that for granted, that our democracy has matured. And I want to say to the president, continue to lead us until 2029. And those that harboring hopes that the president will not be here 2029, Laura, you are dreaming. He's going to lead us until 2029 so that he can take this project further. With those words, I want to thank the president for coming here today and saying this province is an important chapter in the history of our country. And please stand to your feet to welcome my president, your president, our president, Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. Halala, President, halala. Halala, President, halala. President, Twantaruki Kapina.
Modimo halite hai ta yo matata yo modimo halite hai yo matata hayo matata. Hey, Ramaphosa, hey, oh, hayo, hayo. Mata, you still want more? Hayo, modimo halite.
Thank you. Ke a leboha. A re duleng fatshe. Ke qala ka ho leboha batho ba mona Freistata Mangaung. Ke lebohe le ba tsamaisang mosebetsi ona wa kajeno. Ke dumedise di-minister le di-deputy minister tsa rona, Minister Gayton Mackenzie e a leng yena o etang pele di-minister le di-deputy minister tsa rona ka tsatsi lena le bohlokwa, yena a le Minister wa Sports, Arts and Culture. Ke dumedise tona kgolo ya rona mona Freistata, Mme Maqueen Letsoha Matae. Ke dumedise le majoro wa rona wa mona Mangaung le di-councillor tse a sebetsang le tsona le bo majoro ba di toropo tse ding hona mona Freistata. Ke rata ho dumedisa Mme Elita de Klerk o a le mona hara rona kajeko lena. O ne a le mofumahadi wa ntate FW de Klerk o ileng a ba presidente ya naha ya rona la e ne le ka tlasa mmuso wa kgathallo FW de Klerk. I extend my greetings to premiers who are here present and our MECs, members of parliament who are here present, members of the judiciary, representatives of Chapter 9 institutions, Marena Rona, le Morena o Moholo, Dade Mopedi le Mme, ke dumedise le baruti, our faith-based and community leaders, members of the diplomatic corps, General Ruzani Mapwanya, the Chief of the Defense Force, South African Defense Force, and members of the military command, DG Baleni, and other DGs who are here present, and senior government officials, and distinguished guests and fellow South Africans. Dumelang kaofela lo. Ke re dumelang. Ai ka re le lona le kenwe ke serame tjena. Wa bata mona Freistata. Ne ke tlameile ho ba le nna ke tlile le sena marena. Ke le ka utlwa ho bata haholo ke le Lesotho mane. Ke ne ke apere jase, batho ba Lesotho jwale ba ntsheha. Ba re ha o tla Lesotho o ska tla o apere jase o apare kobo. Ke bona morena o moholo ke ona le marena ba apere dikobo. Le nna ke kopa yaka. I greet you all on this, our Freedom Day. 32 years ago, on the 27th of April, 1994, South Africa was born. The morning of the 27th April did not begin like any other ordinary day. It began with great anticipation, excitement, and a determination by millions of South Africans to participate in the birth of a new nation. I'm sure for those who were there and were able to vote at the time, the moment the sun rose, all of us felt that there was magic and electricity in the atmosphere. Before sunrise, millions of our people stood in long queues. They were young and old, rural and urban, black and white. Many were exposed to the weather elements, such as rain and burning sun, but they waited with patience, pride, and dignity to cast their votes for the very first time. It was on a day like today, the 27th of April. More than 20 million South Africans participated in the election, an election that was peaceful, an election that was fair. It was a celebration of the human spirit and its capacity to overcome adversity. It is an honor to mark this occasion here in Bloemfontein, Mangaung, where the flame of freedom was lit. It was here in Mangaung that the African National Congress was born in 1912, bringing together for the very first time people from all across our country to stand together against oppression and dispossession at a national level. This is a province that suffered terrible cruelty, of colonialism and apartheid. Here in Bloemfontein and in the towns across the province, tens of thousands of Afrikaners and Africans were held in inhuman conditions in British concentration camps during the Anglo-Boer War. And in a way, one could say this is where the notion of concentration camps was first practiced and perfected during the Second World War, when many Jews and many others who were opposed to fascism were liquidated in the concentration camps in Europe. They were started here and also here in this province. Many thousands, mostly women and children, died in those concentration camps here. Their suffering stands as a shared, though unevenly remembered chapter of South Africa's past, one that calls for remembrance, honesty, and humanity. When we hear about concentration camps during the Anglo-Boer War, we often hear about how the Afrikaners suffered mostly. We never hear about the thousands of Africans who died in the concentration camps of hunger, of disease, and of losing their possessions and being displaced. This is a province, the Free State, with a history of courageous resistance. Women from the then Orange Free State were amongst the first to rise against the extension of the past laws in 1913, with protests breaking out in Jagersfontein, in Wynberg, and also here in Bloemfontein. They were arrested and imprisoned, and their families were left without caregivers. Instead of being broken, the women of the Orange Free State today, became more determined because they would not accept a system that denied them dignity and freedom. And today we celebrate that here in the Free State, the struggles that were waged by the women of the Free State, and indeed in many other parts of our country, have succeeded. And today, here in the Free State, we have a woman premier who is an inheritor of the struggles that were waged. Me Premier ra o leboha, ebile re leboha le mesebetsi o e etsang o le Premier ya Free State. A re re malebongwe. Minister Mackenzie o ile a re ska ba le mona. This was the site of, in this province, of the Witshoek Peasants' Revolt of 1950. The peasants and farmers of Witshoek revolted against the apartheid government's oppressive land control policies. This was one of the most significant acts of resistance in rural South Africa. The revolt was about the livelihood of rural people regarding their cattle, their wealth, their security, their identity, their land, and their dignity that an oppressive government wanted to destroy. The Witshoek Peasants' Revolt demonstrated that the struggle for freedom was also fought in the valleys, in the fields, and in the hearts of rural communities. It was fought by farmers in the rural areas, by families and ordinary people who chose courage over silence. It was in this province that the people of this province in a town called Brandfort took Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela into their hearts and gave her comfort when she was banished away from her home in Johannesburg to Brandfort in 1977. History is often told through great speeches and great events, but sometimes history is most told in a powerful way through the chapters that are written by ordinary people who choose humanity over fear. When Mama Winnie Mandela was banished to Brandfort, the apartheid rulers thought they were isolating her, but they also thought that they were breaking her spirit. And they also thought that they would extinguish her influence. The people of Brandfort, a small town in this province, did something quite remarkable. They did not let that voice to fade. They carried it forward. They strengthened that voice, Ya Mama Winnie Mandela, and they made it their own. They united in compassion, and that became stronger than the system of apartheid itself. Last month, we laid to rest a son of this province, the first premier of the Free State, and a stalwart of the liberation struggle, Ntate Musiwa Teralekota. He was a brave and principled leader who served this country with distinction. So Mona Freistata, ke province ya dinatla. This is a province that has been blessed with people who are courageous, people who fought for our freedom, people who resisted oppression. And it is fitting that today we should hold our Freedom Day here in this place where the spirit of freedom was born, here in this place where the people of the Free State waged a struggle against oppression and apartheid. Now, on this Freedom Day, we honor the memory of all those here in the Free State who fought. And today we recall the words of our first democratically elected president, who at his inauguration, when he said, "The time for healing the wounds of the past has come. The moment to bridge the chasms that divide us has come. The time to build is upon us." On that first day of our freedom as a nation, we entered into a social contract together as a nation to build a society that's anchored in human dignity, in equal rights, and in freedom for all. 30 years ago, the Constitution of our Republic, the legal foundation of that contract, was signed into law. That Constitution became our birth certificate as a nation. Our Constitution, which is widely regarded around the world as one of the most progressive, visionary, and influential constitutions ever adopted, is a powerful promise about freedom, and stands as our collective shield, protecting the freedom our people fought for. Tokoloho ena e re nang le yona, e re fumaneng ka tsatsi la ho vouta ka di 27 tsa April, ke tokoloho e bohlokwa haholo, e ngwetsweng tokomaneng e bohlokwa e leng motheo wa naha ya heso. Out of struggle came freedom. Through our constitution, we have entrenched that freedom. It is the unshakable foundation of our nation. We have come far as a nation. We stand here today not only as citizens of a democratic nation, but as custodians of a hard-won legacy of freedom. A legacy won in struggle, a legacy shaped by sacrifice, a legacy shaped by courage and an unbreakable belief in freedom and justice. That is the legacy we have. Tukuluho ena e re nang le yona, ba bang ba ne ba sa kgolwe hore re tla ba ra lokoloha. Empa bongata ba batho ba heso mona South Africa ba ne ba tseba hore tokoloho ya rona e tla fihla. There was a time in this country when freedom was not a right but a dream. There was a time in this country when a few people were free and were regarded as citizens. Many were not free. It was a time when voices of many people were silenced, where dignity was denied to millions who were excluded from the life of the country that they called home. But our people refused to accept that fate. They organized, they resisted, they endured, and they finally won their freedom. And in that struggle, they made a simple but powerful declaration that the people of South Africa shall be free, and that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. When freedom came, it was not a political transition. It was a moral transformative moment. And at the center of that transformation stands our Constitution. It is not just a legal document. It is a shield against injustice, a foundation for unity, a foundation for equality, a promise to every citizen that through it, South Africa will never be governed by exclusion. Dignity will never be denied to the citizens of South Africa, and freedom will never be reserved for a few. Our freedom that we are celebrating today resulted, and the right to speak that we have resulted from struggle. The right to move around and to belong resulted from struggle. In the past, you all know we were not allowed to move anywhere where we wanted, to live anywhere where we wanted, to work anywhere where we wanted. The freedom that we won on this day 32 years ago freed us. It unleashed the possibility for us to enjoy the freedom that we have. The right to live with dignity was won when we won our freedom. Our Constitution ensured that freedom is not a slogan, but a live reality. In the 32 years of our democracy, we have built a progressive constitutional democracy, firmly anchored in the rule of law, with an independent judiciary that serves as a guardian of the rights for all. We have expanded access to housing, to healthcare, to education, to water and electricity on an unprecedented scale. We have transformed our education system that was used as a weapon to perpetuate oppression, making sure that universal access to education was denied to the majority of our people. Freedom has now made it possible that we have universal access to education, and we have done so by opening up the doors of learning. Our children, many of them now go to no-fee schools. A go sa patalwa school fees dikolong tse ngata ka hobane ka freedom yena. We have especially expanded that access to education to the poor and to working class parents and households. Our National School Nutrition Program now feeds more than 9 million learners every single day. In some schools, twice a day. Bana ba ja ha ba ya dikolong. Bana ba kena dikolo hantle. Re ntse re nyolla thuto ya bana ba rona. Freistata mona for dilemo tse 5. Freistata e ne ntse e tswa number 1 for the matric results. E tla khutlela hona mono hape. Through the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, NSFAS, we have made tertiary education accessible to students from low-income households. Bana ba rona ba bangata ba kena di college, di university. University ya Freistata mona, ne ile university ya makgowa fela. Ho setse ho kena batho ba bantsho ka bongata ba bona. Ba etsa tjena ka hobane ka NSFAS mmuso ona wa ba thusa. Last year we recorded the highest matric pass rate in the history of South Africa. Freistata itwile number 2. Ita khutlela ho number 1 hape. Eo ke a e tseba. Since the dawn of our democracy, we have steadily worked to expand access to quality healthcare for all. We have built clinics and hospitals, provided free healthcare to pregnant women and young children, as promised by Ntate Nelson Mandela. We have reduced child mortality and increased life expectancy. Now we are working together to establish the National Health Insurance, the NHI, so that every person in this country has equal access to quality health care, regardless of their ability to pay. We are making progress on land reform, restoring land to many of those who were dispossessed of their land since the introduction of the 1913 Native Land Act, and we are continuing to support productive lives for many families who work the land. The Free State is one of the provinces that is leading the country in providing comprehensive agricultural support to emerging and aspiring farmers. Over the last 32 years, we have used our broad-based black economic empowerment policies to expand the participation of black South Africans, of women, and people with disability in the economy. People who were legally and by convention prevented from participating meaningfully in the economy of their country are now able to participate in a more meaningful way in the economy of their country. The women of our country are now participating in quite a significant way in the economy of our country. And all this happens because we won our freedom on the 27th of April in 1994. We have begun to redress the economic injustices of our past, expanding ownership, expanding control, and the management of the economy beyond just a privileged few. The progress we have made is evident in the improvements in the income and quality of life of Africans, colored, and Indian South Africans, and the gradual reduction in income equality between the races. But this is not enough, as we all know. There is much more that needs to be done. Jeka me premier na cho akota President Mandela Ari, I have climbed this hill, and as I look around the vista, I can see there are many more hills to climb. There are many more rivers to cross. That is why we are working to strengthen our policies, particularly to strengthen our BEE policies to make them more effective, more efficient, to ensure that they actually deliver the fundamental changes that our economy needs. And we do so also by training our young people, by making sure that we train them for the jobs that they will work in. Dignity means that people must be able to also live free from the fear of violence and crime. To give greater effect to our freedom, we have dedicated greater resources and effort to tackling organized crime, gangsterism, gender-based violence, and other forms of violent crime. We are reforming and strengthening the criminal justice system. We are rooting out corruption and building a police service and a prosecuting authority in which people can have trust and confidence. Mesebetsi e etsiwang ke di-commissione tsena tse re di theileng, go tshwana le commissione ya Judge Madlanga. Di-commissione tsena tse ding ke tsona tse tlo thusang hore re kgone ho tseba hore ba senyang ke bomang. Mashodu ana re a tsebe hantle, re kgone ho a ntsha, ba kene dinyeweng tsa bona, ba felle tjhankaneng. Ke yona ntho e re etsang eno. So beyond our freedom, so that our freedom can mean what freedom promised us in 1994, we are doing a lot of work to rebuild, to reposition our country. And of course, there are challenges along the way. We will meet obstacles, but as our forebears struggled for this freedom and succeeded, we too will succeed in rebuilding and repositioning our country. We call on all South Africans to be part of this work, to build communities, to build homes and schools and workplaces that are safe and secure. And today, we also have our South African National Defence Force. The Defence Force normally has a mandate of defending the people of South Africa and the country against enemies that will come from outside. That is the key mandate of the Defence Force. But our Defence Force has become quite multi-skilled. They are the Defence Force who helps us when there are disasters, when there are natural disasters, when there are also pandemics. The Defence Force comes to the fore. Now, as we are now fighting those who participate in illegal mining, our Defence Force has been helping our police. Now that there's gang violence and gangsterism, we have called on our Defence Force to come and play a supportive role to assist our police. So through all this, we are rebuilding. We are repositioning our country to make it the country of the dream that we had for freedom, a freedom which we won on the 27th of April, 1994. Today, we take the opportunity to reflect, to renew and reaffirm our commitment to the social contract we entered into 32 years ago. Kaobani, kadi 27 April 1994. Kaofela rona ha re ne re lo vouta, ne re signa kontraka ya hore tukuluho ena e tla ba e re etsetsa eng. It is a contract or a compact that demands active citizenship. It demands democratic oversight, but it is also demanding that the state must deliver justice, services, opportunity, and dignity in return for the public trust that our people invested when they got their freedom. This is a solemn agreement that must be renewed in every interaction between the state and the people of South Africa, to whom the state is accountable. In every service delivered and in every life that is improved. The government of national unity is determined to drive inclusive growth and job creation, and to reduce poverty and tackle the high cost of living, and to build a capable, ethical, and developmental state. This means we must address and overcome the many challenges that are facing our country today. Failing water infrastructure, collapsing municipalities, and the deteriorating services, and all the other inconveniences that South Africans are living under. They directly affect the quality of the daily lives of our people. They constrain the growth of businesses and the economy, and the creation of jobs. Our resolve to strengthen local government provides an opportunity to transform our municipalities and make them better run, more efficient, more responsive to the needs of our people. Selemong sena re tla ba re ya dikgethong hape, dikgetho tsa ho lo kgetha makhansela a rona le bo majoro ba rona. Ka kgetho leno go tlameile hore bana ba re tsebang hore ke ba tswafa, ke batho ba tswafang, batho ba sa sebeletseng setjhaba, bao ba utswang tjhelete, re ba ntshe, re kenye bano ba re tsebang hantle hore ba tla sebetsa. Dikgetho tsena tse re yang ho tsona di tla re fa monyetla wa hore re ntjhafatse tsela e bommasepala ba rona ba sebetsang ka yona. This is important because the truest test of our democracy is whether freedom translates into material change in the lives of our people. Dignity starts with the most basic things: a roof over one's head, clean running water, reliable electricity. Freedom is about the ability to go to a clinic when one is sick, to have a school for one's children, and being provided with an age-old pension. Advancing human dignity is the promise of our Constitution and the fundamental value from which all other human rights flow. It is in pursuit of this fundamental value that we set out in the 2026 State of the Nation Address an ambitious economic agenda anchored in massive infrastructure investment, structural reforms, and economic transformation. We are removing obstacles to investment, making our economy more competitive, fixing our key state-owned enterprises like Eskom and Transnet. We are working with all our social partners to grow industries that will create jobs, such as agriculture, such as reviving mining, even here in the Free State, improving and expanding tourism, manufacturing, renewable energy and digital industries. It is to advance human dignity that we continue to act without fear or favor against those who undermine the promise of our freedom. Every rand that is stolen is an attack on our democracy. Every project that is not completed is a betrayal of a community. Ki ile ka fihla mona Freistata dibekeng tse fetileng. Premier le Minister wa Housing Settlements, Human Settlements, ba ile ba nkisa dibakeng tse ngata mo ho ne ho qadilwe di-project tsa dintlo tse sa qetwang. Batho ba ne ba tshwanetse hore ba qete di-project tseno, ba filwe tjhelete, ba ba baleya le tjhelete ba sa qeta di-project tseno. Ho na le dibaka tse ngata mona Freistata where projects have just been left without being completed. Now that is wrong. That is what we are going to stop. Hore ha o fiwa monyetla wa ho etsa project, o iqete, o ska utswa tjhelete, o sebetse, o be o qete project eno. Now we will not rest until those who have hollowed out our institutions and diverted public resources for private gain are held accountable. No society can be free and equal while women and children continue to live in fear. We must therefore do more to end gender-based violence. When we held the Free State's Men's Indaba here in Bloemfontein last year, as it was organized by the Premier and the leadership of the Free State, I said South Africa does not need a so-called new generation of men. It needs the men and boys of this generation to do better and to be better. We need men who are protectors of women, not perpetrators. Men of South Africa must stand up and be counted and say, not in our name. Men of South Africa must be free men and be able to respect the free women and young women of South Africa. Men of South Africa, do not abuse the women of this country. And that is why gender-based violence must be brought to an end. And it is the men of South Africa who must stop gender-based violence. That is the challenge that we, the men of South Africa, need to take up on this Freedom Day. We must grant the women and young women of our country their freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from violence, freedom from rape. We do not walk alone in this freedom, fellow South Africans. And we did not walk into this freedom on our own. We were carried by a tide of solidarity from the nations of the world, from the nations of Africa. These countries opened their borders to our liberation fighters. When the apartheid government was pursuing our liberation fighters, they ran to a number of countries around the world, but especially on our continent. They shared their stories with our neighbors, and our neighbors shared their spaces with them. And they gave them safety. They even fed them. They gave them bread, and they opened their homes. They spoke for us when we could not speak for ourselves. They took risks so that we could be free. Their countries were bombed. Their nationals were killed. And all that they did for our sake as well. They supported our freedom. The leaders and the people of Africa kept our freedom alive and our struggle for freedom alive. It cannot be and must never be that we trample into the dust the African fellowship that made our freedom possible. We are a people who live the value of Ubuntu. We should never allow the legitimate concerns of our communities about illegal migration to breed prejudice and hatred towards our fellow Africans. We should not allow that to happen. Yes, we all have concerns, as many other countries in the world have concerns about undocumented and illegal migrants. We must not allow these concerns to give rise to xenophobia, to give rise to hatred that is directed towards people from other African countries or any parts of the world. We are South Africans. We cannot be driven by hatred towards others. Others gave us compassion. They gave us support. And we cannot be driven by hatred towards them. Instead, we must insist that the law of our country be upheld and enforced. That is why we are clamping down on illegal migration and on businesses that flout the law by hiring undocumented persons at the expense of our citizens. I spoke about this during the State of the Nation address. We are actively rooting out corruption in our immigration system. We know that a number of people who have come in illegally into our country were allowed by some, not all, officials who have had corrupt tendencies. We will not allow people to take the law into their own hands. We extend hospitality to those who are guests in our country with the expectation that generosity is honored with respect for our society and its laws. And we say to those who are here legally, respect us as South Africans, respect our laws, respect our conventions and our traditions, as you would want us to respect the laws and traditions of your own country. As a nation that defeated colonialism and apartheid through international solidarity, we carry a responsibility to advance constitutional values beyond our borders. So we then therefore say, yes, let us allow our laws to take their course. We have already set in place the way in which we will be able to deal with those who are in our country illegally. We remain committed to multilateralism, to respect for international law and principled diplomacy. International law was born from the devastation of global conflict. It is a shield for all countries in the world, regardless of their size or influence. True multilateralism demands respect for diversity while remaining firm in the core principles of sovereignty, of human rights, of freedom, of accountability, and peaceful coexistence. This Freedom Day, which we cherish so much, stands as a reminder that political liberation was never the final destination. It was the beginning of a longer journey towards economic freedom and social justice. Let us continue working together, sparing neither strength nor courage, to complete the unfinished task, which is the realization of our freedom that is grounded in justice, in dignity, and prosperity for all. Our future will not be built by forgetting where we come from, but by acting with courage on what we have learned, united by one constitution, bound by a collective responsibility to each other, and in pursuit of a shared destiny. The freedom that we are celebrating today belongs to all of us. And I've often said, this freedom we have won also freed those who were our oppressors, because as they were oppressing us, they themselves did not have real freedom. And today, all of us are free, but we now need to work harder so that all of us can enjoy the real fruits of the freedom we struggle for. This freedom does not belong to one party. It does not belong to one generation. It belongs to all the people of South Africa, past, present, and future. So let us protect it. Let us uphold this freedom. Let us live by it. And so, as we reflect on how far we have come, all of us, need to look to the future that we must build together, remembering that the freedom we enjoy today was never handed to us. It was fought for by our people and secured forever by our Constitution. Let us be worthy of that freedom. Let us deepen it. Let us defend it. Let us ensure that it is felt by everyone. Ha tukuluho ena re ka etsa hore re atise ibe tukuluho e feleletseng. South Africa ena e tla ba South Africa entle. Ka mantswe ao ke re, may God continue to bless our country. May God continue to protect the people of South Africa. May God continue to advance our interests. Morena, a boloke setjhaba sa heso, a se hlokomele. Ke a leboha.
Ha re shapeng matsoho haholo. Bomme di dietsang. Le utlwile molaetsa wa presidente. Le utlwile. O re hanyane. Kancane. Sizophumelela. A re mo shapela matsoho hape. Ra leboha president. Ra leboha. Ha re tlo bitsa ntate Ndu hore Masilela hore a tlo re fa Mino, ne? Re leboha president for reminding us and emphasizing that we all have a role to play in rebuilding and repositioning our country. Kancane. Sizophumelela. Kancane. Sizophumelela. Kancane. Ndumasilela. Kancane. Sizophumelela. Sezebusele kancane. Hola.
One and the only God Father, hardcore, white, for life. Come on, to M to the D to the U. Come on, to M to the D to the U. Sabela Moses Kamanako. Fight Kamaka, Kamani, Mali Kamanako Sabela. Sabela Mali Kamanako. Mali Kamanako Sabela. Sabela Mali Kamanako. Mali Kamanako Sabela. Sabela Mali Kamanako. It's a back of a guy, deep of a joke of a joy. Now, Nalima. Yes, Julie, Sabella. It's a Julie. Wherever body, Sabella. Where Lily, Sabella. He's a man, Nelly, Sabella. We should have Kelly, Sabella. Where Lily, Sabella. Sabella, come on, Mitzvah. You're in a Jabu, Sabella. We should have a Lulu, Sabella. Hey, Mamu, Sabella. Never kuku, Sabella. Kotoka kalu, Sabella. Sabella, come on, Mitzvah, Sabella. It's a guy, come on, Sabella. Sabeni kamala komalibizwa. Sabeni kamala komalibizwa. Ngithi sabeni kamala komalibizwa. Freedom Day, your name is there. Hello Africa, back. When you is black. Y2K or not Y2K, you is black. Jesus. Yemsala, Semoshage. Yemsala, Semoshage. Yemsala, Semoshage. Alimpona, you deserve. Alimpona, you deserve. Nalaleteka, auchumi abanda. Alimpona, you deserve chumi abanda. Come on, everybody! Come on, let's have fun. Come on.